Hello, hello, and welcome to All Access Live. I'm
Hello, John.
and today we have Bearta Alchacar. So, hi, Bearta. How are you?
Hi, John. How are you? Good to see you again.
Good, good. Thank you so much. It's been what I think now maybe 6, 7 weeks since we last saw each other.
True, true.
Yeah,
Still working on it, by the way. I'm still working.
and are you?
Yeah,
So, for those of you who don't know, Bearta is the organizer for TEDx Raleigh, and I participated just a few weeks ago on TEDx Raleigh. I think it was November 7th, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And I thought it'd be great to have you on, and also kind of just to talk through about the experience of hosting an event, and also how people who are interested in doing their own TED Talk can participate.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's great. I'm happy to help. Thank you. And it was such a pleasure to see you all. And it was amazing speakers, very inspiring. And I'm so glad you were on there because we had already chosen the 10 speakers. And then I knew about you, and we have to squeeze you. We had to put you on there. But anyway, it was great. I hope everybody gets a chance to see the talk and hear it because it was amazing, very touching, very moving. Everyone said they enjoyed so much your talk.
well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm very humbled, and again, I'm thankful that you did include me because, I wasn't part of the initial 10, but I'm so thankful that you did take a chance on me and give me a platform to share my story.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, Berta, I'd love to just get an idea, like just about your background. I just heard that you're talking about your last name, it meaning thankful in Arabic. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you kind of talk about sharing your story about how you got into the event business?
Sure. So back in 1929, no, I'm just kidding. It was so I used to do fundraisers for UNICEF a while ago, and I didn't have a venue. We would have these. I don't know if people remember Zumba back when Zumba was the hot thing. We would go
You
to
mean like the exercise thing?
the exercise. Yeah, I was one of the first 3 instructors to be certified in Zumba. And
Oh,
so
really?
what we would do, yeah, on a Friday night, we'd go to different restaurants so that we can support the local restaurants like tequilas and, Latin-based kind of music. And we
Yeah.
would start dancing for 3 hours and collect the money, whatever money we made, we donated to UNICEF. And so I became an ambassador for that.
Oh, wow.
And then, so then we did the same thing with UNHCR. It was very rewarding. It was fun. We exercised. We got to meet all kinds of instructors and support local businesses at the same time. And people made friends. So it was always such a joy to do that.
Yeah.
And so it was, that's what started it. And then we ran out of venues because we started getting bigger and bigger with the Zumba parties. And so eventually I bought my own wedding venue in Apex
Oh,
and
wow.
started doing weddings and other events and things like that. And a lot of cultural events as well and corporate events. And so I got into that way. I got into it that way. And eventually I started, I was helping with the internet. I organized the International Festival. I did my own festival on Fayetteville Street, the Raleigh's International Food Festival. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my baby.
Yeah.
My baby.
When did you take over the international festival?
So there's 2 different festivals.
Yeah.
One organization called International Focus, which did the big international festival, the convention center, and things changed there because it got too expensive. So I was helping them with that. And then I have my own festival, which is on the street, on Fayetteville Street.
Yeah.
And I always felt like it's great to have the convention center, but not everybody could afford, if a family of 4 wanted to go in, that's $40, just at Christmas time when nobody could really, before even eating. So
Yeah.
poor people or people who don't have as much money couldn't even experience that. So I wanted to do that on Fayetteville Street for free. And that's how we did it.
That's awesome. Because I remember
support of the sponsors. Yeah. You remember the
Yeah, no.
festival?
Oh, well, yeah. 'Cause when I was 12, 13 years old, so that was like 1993, 1994, it was like probably one of my favorite events in Raleigh, the International
Oh,
Festival.
yeah.
Because was being an Indian American kid. There wasn't, when I went to school, there wasn't as much diversity in my classroom. But when I went to that festival, I got to see the diversity of
Yeah.
Raleigh, our area, and all the different, the booths. And I think maybe it sticks in my mind because it may be the first time that my parents would just let me go out on my own.
Yeah.
They're just like, they would just let us go, and we'd go, and me and my buddies would go and check out all the different stands and grab the different foods, and it brings back really fond memories for me.
It does bring back a lot of, it brings back good memories for a lot of people, but also, if you notice, yeah, Americans are very open to other people's culture, but I feel sometimes within our own international groups, we kind of tend to stay within our groups and not mix in with others. And so I feel like it's a two-way street. And, by having these events, we get to share our culture. Yes, it's wonderful, but also we get to support local businesses downtown. And, that's very important to me. And, there's wonderful people in the community downtown in Raleigh, especially. I mean, I'd say downtown, but because I do work downtown most of the time, but I love our community. Raleigh has been an incredibly welcoming community, and there's wonderful people in it. So, and that's how I started, really. I was like, this is so wonderful. And I went to one of the TED Talks once here in Raleigh. The first one I went to was, I think, 2017 or something like that here. The first one, I was not the licensee holder at the time.
Okay.
So there were some couple of good speakers. And I remember one of them was like addicted to social media. That was her story. And I'm thinking to myself, really, I think we can do better than just being addicted to social media. And she was supposedly famous and all that. And so I knew a lot of business owners downtown. So I applied for the license last year. And the guy who used to hold it, Matt Murphy, was really nice to help me out, because they do go through a lot of vetting. It's a big, long vetting process. What you did, how, your work ethics and all that good stuff. Yeah. And so he was nice, to help me out with it and pass the baton over. And because he moved away. And so we did it last year during COVID. It was kind of challenging, but the Sheraton was really nice to us to give us really reduced rates. And the manager, Leon Cox, is really a wonderful person. And he helped us out. They sponsored the event. And this year they did the same thing. They gave us reduced rate because it is nonprofit. And it's also, everybody's a volunteer. Our team is all based on volunteers. And if we can cover our expenses, we're in good shape. So for example, if somebody's interested in Durham or Fayetteville, they should definitely go for it, because you can only have one license per city. So mine is Raleigh. If you're living Cary, try Cary. If nobody's doing it already. So whatever city, and if you feel like you can contribute, definitely do it. The longest process would be have a great team, because everybody wants to take credit. You have, sometimes if you've worked on nonprofits, you have 20 people and only 2 people do most of the work. So just make sure when you select your committee or your team that they all contribute somehow to the project, because it does take a lot. So my job, for example, once my team is identified, let's say, for example, we have 2 reporters who help me out with the public relations part. Sean is, you met Sean. He's
Sean Maroney's the best.
I love Tony. Yeah. He's always jumping in and doing incredible things for our community. Nobody knows about it. He just jumps in like a Superman and flies back out. And those are the people you rely on. They are going to come through for you. And any kind of, negativity or anything like that, weed those out. You don't need people on that team like that, because it's very positive, very supportive of each other. Yeah. And so the most probably time intensive is for me, and you don't have to do it that way, whoever is applying for it. We opened up registration, let's say in February this year, and we have now over 283 applicants from all over the world. Yeah.
Wow.
But by the time I get to them, so I read them through, I'll weed them out, because we do get a lot of like life coaches and you can't, that's great that they do that, totally respect these guys, but you want to move away from just inspirational stuff. What have you done? You want ideas that are worth sharing with others, right? that way you can inspire other people, like your story, or Kashinda, or
Yeah.
all those guys that were on there were amazing. Science, you want to range it from science to education to motivational stuff to fitness, all subjects. That way you have a good diversity of subjects.
Yeah.
And so when I go through the applications, it takes so long, so long, because I read out, write notes on everybody, and then I interview all of them. Believe it or not, the people were interviewed before you.
Yeah.
They were interviewed, almost all of them taking notes, weeding people out, and I don't want to treat people ever like numbers. So you want to know who they are. Yeah, they wrote amazing things on a piece of paper, but it's nice to get to know the people, talk to them, and hear their ideas. If you can do that as a curator, that's amazing. As an organizer.
Oh, so so part of the process was they submitted the application and then you interviewed the finalists of those.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
interviewed like probably 75 to 100 people.
Wow.
And
Okay.
every day, yeah, for every Thursday, for like back to back to back to back, about months in advance, write notes for my
Yeah.
team, and then narrow it down. And so by the time you came along, we had already selected. And then
Yeah.
I met Sharon, and she goes, I have this amazing guy. And she was telling me about, oh no, I have 10. How are we going to do 12? So, because it had, for marketing, it's better to do 10.
Yeah.
10 is good. The 10 is good. And then we had you, and then I talked last year to Kashinda March too, and she was excellent. And I remember thinking next year she's going to be on there. And so now I have 12, and they were all amazing. So we made it, 12 speakers, 12 minutes.
12 minutes. Yeah. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, just say, yeah. And next year it'll be 10 speakers, 10 minutes, probably. Because the feedback we got, it was great, but it was a little too long for people to sit down. So we'll probably narrow it down, and always listen to others' feedback. It's okay to get feedback, and learn as you go from each event. The main thing, don't lose money on it the first time. So we had to go, the first time we had a little glitch, and I learned from it. With the production, that's what's going to cost you the most, is the production team, who's 3 cameras according to their guidelines and things like that. So that was the costliest. And then you have to kind of find sponsors and deal with people. Say, hey, we didn't make money this year, we'll pay you next year, or find partners. And that's where that's how we are able to do better every year. And this year we had 100 people extra more than last year, so that was nice.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great crowd. I think it was 125 people.
No, so last year we had 70 altogether.
Oh,
remember, last year we had a maximum of 100 people in one room, in the 4,000 square foot room that we're in. Remember the governor's orders last year with COVID. We implemented the whole COVID thing, masks, temperature and gloves or whatever it was, sanitizing. So it was different. It was definitely a very distant interaction with everybody. Everybody was scared, but it was great. So this year we were able to get more in-person tickets, and people were, we couldn't really be the mask police, and we couldn't be the vaccine police. That's not my job. We could just only recommend people, because you get in fights with people and you don't want to do that. So, you hope everybody's doing the right thing for them and for us. And, if you're not vaccinated, please stay at home. If you don't want to wear a mask, please stay at home. And we kind of went by the governor's guidelines and, the CDC guidelines. So that's all you can do, right? So I'm not their parent. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They can show me a fake ID for fake, vaccination card for all I know. Yeah. So we just kind of relied on honesty and, hope everybody would wear a mask if they're not vaccinated or at risk. Yeah. And then, hopefully everybody else had vaccines. So, so far so good. We didn't hear anything.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great event, and I'm so thankful. I know there's a lot of people out there who've asked me, like, how can they do it? Because, what are some tips that you would give? You talked about, not just being inspirational, but giving an idea worth spreading. So what are maybe 3 tips that you would give for individuals who are looking to apply to do a TEDx?
That's a great question. And, I mainly first we get few people local who are accomplished and went through some things and, they have great ideas, whether it's business owners or invented something or, a scientific or something. So kind of have a nice range. Don't think it's just going to be like a motivational speaker who's trying to sell a book. Don't be that. I mean, it's great, but there's 100 other people like you applying. So try to stand out from the crowd. What is your story and how are you different? How can you inspire others? What's your idea? Is your idea to, whatever it is, how to reinvent yourself, how to reset, how to learn a new skill, whatever. Pick a subject, and there's a lot of them on TED.com. And, one of the things that drove me to do this is because I do know a lot of people who are incredibly amazing here in Raleigh. And then we started hearing, from the scientists, doctors, who are not from Raleigh. So we kind of started mixing those in a little bit.
Yeah.
They are connected to Raleigh somehow, whether they went to NC State or, or UNC or Duke or. So we also want to be open to everyone because this is, we're looking for diversity of subjects, diversity of people, from different walks of life and, just fun personalities who've accomplished some things and kind of like yourself, right? And just you have a huge following because people respect you and absolutely, you were absolutely worthy of being on that stage. So it's all on TED.com now. It's all uploaded, but the work comes afterwards. So for the people to answer your question about stand out, have an idea, talk about your idea, not yourself. Yeah. And so we do ask a question. There's a brief description about. We said like 3 sentences about your idea. So some people just cut and paste and put like a huge thing on there that I don't have time to read and I don't get to the point. So just kind of be brief on that part. On the second part is your biography. Mm-hmm. Also be brief and see how it relates to that. I'm an attorney. I do this, I do that, whatever. Yeah. And that's how you do it. But just kind of work on the idea first. So this year I was thinking this coming year, this year was the theme was reset, hitting reset. Yeah. Yeah, right. We all had to do that at some point. This coming year, we haven't worked with my team yet, but we're coming up with a few ideas. So look for the theme and see how your idea relates to the theme. So in January, it'll probably be up on TEDxRaleigh.com. And so they can see what the theme is and apply according to that theme. So don't rush. We have till June, July, and then we'll go through it. And don't be surprised if you hear from me because I'll call you and talk to you about 15 minutes, hopefully about 15 minutes or so.
Perfect. So TEDxRaleigh.com, they should be looking for, potential opening up in January, February.
Yeah. And then you could just apply and feel free to write me anytime. I answer all the emails and that's what takes a long time is the emails, and I don't mind at all because, when you apply for something, you don't want to be like a number. And I don't know if you're from here, but when we were applying for like my immigration, right? Because I came from Lebanon. Mm-hmm. And when I came here, you're so totally, you feel like you're such low class, like you're applying for something, you're scared of these people because, they can refuse your application. So that feeling always followed me. And I don't like for people to feel that way. And it's almost like the DMV times 25, right? They're rude and most of them are rude. And, they would treat people at the immigration office like crap. And I didn't like that at all. And so whenever I do go through everything, I go with respect, whatever the subject matter is. We have to treat people with respect, not like numbers. Yeah. Just applicants. They're real people with real accomplishments that want to be on TEDx.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, awesome. We'll share a link to TEDxRaleigh.com for people to take a look at. We'll also send a link to my TEDx. So thank you so much for that. Sid and the team did a wonderful job with that.
Thank you. We're still working on a couple more. We had a few misspellings and things like that, but that's part of the job. You have to keep editing and uploading things until they approve it. So that's another thing for someone who's wanting to to possibly apply for the license. It's just, it's going to be a lot more work during, before, or after. They do require a lot of information, and it's my pleasure to do it because my schedule is pretty flexible most of the time, so I can do that, but just kind of be aware of that.
Yeah. No, but it was such a great experience. And before we go, I have to, I thought the addition of Nito, is it Nito?
Nito, yeah, they were so cute.
So awesome.
Yeah, and they play locally, so support them, please. They're so cute. The reason I met them was we were downtown. I think I love Raleigh, but I don't know if you've been to Europe. And in Europe, all the musicians, they can just pull up anytime, anywhere they want on the side of the street and play. And in here, you have to have a license, you have to apply for a permit or something like that. So musicians are so respected in Europe, and I wish they would allow them to do that more here on Fayetteville Street. Or last year we had the guy you see always on Fayetteville Street, the Street Genie.
Oh yeah.
Freddie the Street Genie, you always hear it on Fayetteville Street. And this year we had Nito, because they do play around town. Their story is amazing, and they're incredible musicians. So we'll start looking for next year too for entertainment.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for representing Raleigh, because I think you are a great ambassador for downtown Raleigh and what our city represents. So thank you so much for that.
It's an honor. Thank you so much. It's my privilege and my honor to be part of Raleigh. This is a great community.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you again. This is going to be our last episode for the calendar year. We'll take
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we will be back in January. But thank you for being my final guest. And just thank you. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity.
Oh gosh, it's my pleasure. And really, all thanks also to Sharon, because she's the one who told me about you. And I was like, oh no, we already picked the 10 speakers. How am I going to finagle this? And it worked. So you have a little bit of flexibility there as an organizer, but it worked out great. So
yeah, no, Sharon is my angel. She has been such a special person in my life, and I would not be sitting here doing this talk with you if it wasn't for her. And
she's amazing. She really is.
Yes. Well, thank you. And thank you, Annie, our new producer, first time on the producing. So thank you, Annie. And thank you, Jarvis. I appreciate it.
Very good. Yes.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.